Absolutely could. Well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and scroll into Game 5. And we actually had a chance to sit down with Shredded and hear some of his thoughts at halftime of our $1 million Grand Finals day. So let's listen to that.
I learned in the first 2 games that my strategy wasn't really working. I finished 6th and then I finished 8th. And I tried my best to make it work. I tried to play what I was getting offered and it wasn't working. I switched things up game 3 and I went for an open 4 into Glacier Knight strategy, which I always knew was sort of a back pocket strategy of mine. And it worked out really well. I ended up finishing up 2nd and now I'm in contention for the top 4 places. And I think going into the final 3 games, that's what I'm going to try to be doing, sticking to what got me 2nd and seeing how it goes.
And he talks a little bit about being in contention for the top 4 places, but honestly, he is absolutely in contention for the #1 spot still with how he's positioned in Game 1. Or Game 4, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Open forting has been essentially a very interesting strategy for a lot of players. Off the bat, it was obviously notably lucky that tried to make it work 7 games in a row, but it's not 7 games in a row that Shredded needs to make it work for. It is just another 2. And you can see here, Jinsu off to a great start. Dwarf Sniper, an incredibly good individual unit in its own right. He's got 2 God of Wars to work with as well.
Massive start for Jinsu. This is exactly what he needs to put himself into a very healthy position where he can actually start looking at winning early on and not having to go into a lose streak and not having to put himself in a kind of a do or die situation to get above like 6th or 7th. It's just one little thing like that could change everything.
He's actually got a Poisonous Worm with a Magic Crystal on it as well. You can see here, it's an interesting take. You got Chuck and also Shredded with a Fortune Teller here as well. So he's not true open forting. He's going to be protecting as much of his HP as physically possible. Wondering whether we're going to see any other Glacier Knight players. Chuck already with the Lightblade Knight and the Hell Knight on the field at this point in time, but Shredded did have a lot on his bench, so he's close to, he's got a lot of stuff here. He's actually going to go back into the true open fort at this point in time. Maybe someone else looking to do the same thing, and he does not want to get caught out by it, but it's been working out incredibly well for Shredded. And it's got to be frustrating for the other players because they know exactly what he's doing, but they can't drag themselves down to that level because they know that the best case scenario most of the time for a double open forter is that you just ruin each other's economy.
Yeah, and what he's doing right now is he's waiting to put his Fortune Teller on until the very last second. It's actually a very smart play, but what I do want to note is that Knight's Glacier, we've seen this playstyle of lose streaking down to Knight's Glacier backfire tremendously. So right now he is in top 4, but if things go wrong, if the rolls don't go his way and he's just rolling and rolling and doesn't get the comp online, it puts him in a very, very tough spot, and it's possible for him to go out at 8th. And if he takes an 8th place, it could even knock him all the way out of 4th.
Yeah, he's actually got 21 or 20 points at the moment right now, so he's in a good spot, I think, to be contending 4th, but there are 5 other players in this lobby that are in that situation. We'll have to see. This is having a look at what everyone else is doing. Chuck actually looking after his economy really well here, and I think that's a good thing to do. If you're looking to compete with Shredded versus Glacier Knights, you do need to be looking to look after your economy as much as physically possible. You need to be looking to get to 50 gold as quickly, and Jinsu actually finds himself a level 2 Hell Knight here as well. And he's got so many 2-stars on the board and a 2-star God of War. And he's maybe thinking of going Glacier Knights in his own right too.
Yeah, it might be...
Oh, Chuck's just done it. Chuck, I think Shredded found Chuck. I think Shredded, I mean, I don't know.
No, Shredded actually got up against Kong, so he's still keeping his loss streak, but Chuck does decide to go into an open fort as well for himself. So this is going to be scary for Shredded because he knows now that his plan has a hole in it.
Yes, it does.
Potentially.
And Chuck is not afraid to do the same thing right now. Chuck is he's a little bit ahead in economy. No, he's a similar level of economy to Shredded right now. And they are both going to be trying to generate that loss streak at the same kind of pace. But
Chuck is in a position, though, where he needs to take these gambles.
He does, yeah.
Shredded, on the other hand, doesn't need to take these gambles. And I would imagine that he would change his strategy up a little bit, possibly look to level up and end the open fort once and just prepare if that lose streak does happen, basically.
But Jinsu, who's on a win streak, another good way to build an economy, another good way to roll aggressively, he's actually looking at Glacier Knights in his own right as well. So Jinsu looking to compete with Chuck and Shredded for those units, and this is something that you're going to be keeping an eye on if you are Shredded in this situation, that actually a lot of people, again, looking for Glacier Knights as they know how powerful it is at securing you a top 3 spot.
Jinsu now, round 8, 100% HP, land as well. Also looking to secure himself a money spot, which is, of course, over top 4 in this lobby. So he's actually got a very light team right now. It's not really something that you would think would actually have a 100% win streak, but I think what's going on is he's getting very nice matchmaking because of the open forwarders, because of the lose streakers, so it's giving him possibly a false sense of win streaking, but of course, I mean, he's going to take it.
Of course he will, absolutely, and I think he's very well aware of how, I would say, how weak his composition is right here. He's definitely losing. He's definitely losing to Archdevil's composition right now, and it feels like Land is maybe looking for a feathered build right out the gate, which may give him a good mid game versus the likes of. Which may give him a good mid game versus the likes of these Glacier Knight players.
Yeah, I think we see like 3 or 4 Night Glacier players once again, and Kong, however, we haven't taken... Oh, Archdevil actually with a 2-star Dwarf Sniper this early is extremely powerful.
That's really good if you want to go into a Hunter build. It's one of the core 2-stars that you need to make work. Having a look at the rest of the board right now, you can see Chuck. He's nearly at a 2-star Hell Knight. He's looking for a 2-star Lightblade Knight. There is lots of people looking to compete with Shredded right now when it comes to that open fort strategy, and the same thing with Chuck, and it is getting a little bit precarious. They've managed to avoid each other for now. Chuck running with a Defector in his lobby. I mean, he's basically looking... I mean, if Shredded matches Chuck right now, it won't ruin his win streak, which is good for Shredded. Yeah, and see, Shredded found Chuck, but he lost automatically, and that keeps that lose streak alive.
Yeah, Jinsu's actually got to be careful here. He's a little bit on the low end of economy compared to Shredded and Chuck, so if he does lose his win streak, even though he's trying to transition into Knight's Glacier as well, those other 2 players will have so much more economy to roll for those units before he can get them.
Yeah, he needs to start thinking about generating a good win streak economy in this situation. He's got a great composition to do it with. He just needs to, like you say, be very aware of the fact that he is competing with 2 people who have got incredible economies for this particular build. So he needs to be looking to, I think, I would almost argue selling the egg at this point. I think at this point in the game, you are going to be holding on to that egg for a very long time. It will be a 5 gold weight on your bench. It would probably be much better served at looking to get you over a gold threshold. Now, it's very okay to have it in this scenario because he's not going to hit 20 gold, but I think in the future be looking to sell that to hit a certain gold threshold.
Yeah, and we see Archdevil actually picking up the 2-star Fallen Witcher. Does have a Taboo Witcher, and we've seen some Demon Warrior comps do well in this tournament already. Obviously at this point, with such powerful 2-stars, I think he's going to be just fine for quite some time. He does need to start building up his economy as well. We talk about Jinsu needing to build up his, but Archdevil actually even in a worse position at this time. And taking a look at the items across the board, Jinsu just with 1 Magic Crystal, Land with 1 Cattle Hide Armor, so even worse now. Round 10 with 1 Cattle Hide Armor.
That's really bad for Land. It's been incredibly unlucky for him. Fallen Witcher getting stacked up with items here, and if you're looking for a build that can maybe do well into Glacier Knights, Fallen Witcher is one of those units that does incredibly well into Knights, because when he transforms, he gets a massive attack damage boost, and then 50% extra of that becomes pure damage, which goes straight through those Knight shields.
Yeah, Archdevil, just by the sheer power of units that he has for 2-star, regardless of really the composition that he has right now, which or lack thereof, he's going to be able to find some win streaks. Unless he gets put up against possibly Jinsu, he might have a hard time, but I honestly think Archdevil would win that matchup.
Chuck a little bit behind on economy to Shredded right now. Seiko actually in one of the worst positions in the game at this point in time, low on HP, and really does not have an economy to work with whatsoever either. Seiko is looking in a rough spot right now. I'd be very worried if I were him. He's a little bit behind compared to everybody in terms of gold generation gained.
He is one of the lone mage players currently. Of course, we do see people transitioning into them much later on. Looks like Bomeran and is building it as well, but a little bit farther away than Seiko is. Seiko does have the 2-star source already as well. Shredded starting to put some units out on the board here for his side.
Yeah, Chuck's actually started to commit to the board to try and protect as much HP as physically possible right now. Might actually turn to backfire against him because the werewolf will indeed transform. So he's going to take a boatload of damage from this round here. May even knock him below Shredded, so it did kind of backfire. And that's one of the risks of going from an open fort into a weak composition, especially when there are things like poisonous worms and werewolves in the field. You actually could end up taking more damage than you previously planned to.
Now swapping back over to Jinsu, still hanging on to that egg. Like you said, it is kind of just destroying his economy for the most part. Around every single round that you keep it and don't get above a gold threshold, it's turning into a 6 gold egg, a 7 gold egg, an 8 gold egg, and then you put it onto maybe a 2-star Hell Knight. Then it turns into, you know, a 12 cost egg just like that, because the value that you're getting out of it is just not worth keeping it around. And most of the time before 30 gold, you don't even think about picking those up.
He just leveled up to level 7 here, and I actually have a feeling that he's going to lose to Kong. And that's going to massively impact his economy going towards the Wolf round right now. That's not a good look for Jinsu. Obviously has invested into experience before some of the other players, so that means he will eventually... He did sell the egg. Okay, I fully endorse that. He's got back up to 30 gold. So that is a recoverable position if you are Jinsu, because you're actually at 30 gold. Even though you lost your win streak bonus, you can get to 50 gold by the Wolf round and you'll feel like you're in an okay spot.
Yeah, and that's definitely a smart move from Jinsu, because he could very easily see his HP lead trickle down extremely quickly. Taking a look at Kong, though, looked really strong last matchup against Seiko. We do see a 3-star Tusk champion now going into round 14. Ends up throwing in 6 warriors with the beast bonus, with the poisonous worm with the little magical crystal on it as well. It's about all you need is 1 magical crystal and a wooden stick, and it's going to generate enough mana to keep up with the cooldown of the skill.
So Seiko actually going up to level 7 despite not being in a particularly good position economy-wise. This might bite him a little bit harder going into the second half of this game, just because if he doesn't have a particularly strong composition, he's not going to be able to generate an economy, and he's probably going to take a lot of HP damage. With the Beast Warriors being out there, you saw how much damage he took in that single turn. He's not in a great spot.
Yeah, if you're Seiko, this game's pretty much in the books for you compared to everybody else in the lobby. Look at the gold difference just on Chuck, Shredded, and it's going to be really rough for him. Exandro, it's going to be really rough.
He's actually had to go into a Goblin build here just to try and get through this Wolf round as well. Shredded at 32% HP. I think he might have maintained his loss streak bonus going into this round, so he's at a 10 loss streak, which is great. He's found himself a 2-star Lightblade Knight, he's found himself a 2-star Hell Knight. He's not in the worst position in the world again. He is not actually that close to finding the Hell Knight 3 and the Lightblade Knight 3 this time round, but realistically, this is a good spot to be in the mid game if you're playing a Glacier Knight build.
This situation, though, instead of staying at 5 and rolling, I would actually see him level. Use the gold to level up and put those extra units in so he gets the full Glacier, gets the full Knights, and has that on board. Probably even go up to level 7 as quick as he possibly can.
He's actually saved... Oh, he's again found another 2-star Hell Knight here. That was
just high roll.
That is, I mean, sometimes it just happens. He's got loads of gold to roll with right now. He is going to level up, like you said. I think he goes up twice, up to level 7. It was a good decision, like you said.
Not able to make use of the second 2-star Hell Knight, though, just yet. But he does end up giving up the 4 Knight bonus to add that additional Hell Knight in there, which is a bit of a toss-up. Which one is arguably better? I think for right now at round 16, having that extra stun along with some damage from the Hell Knight is going to be the better option.
Yeah, it's going to be completely fine. Let's have a look at Chuck. It's one of his main competitors when it comes to the sort of the Glacier Knight build. He's got a slightly lower level economy right now, but he's doing perfectly fine with his own gold economy. I'm interested to see how close he is to certain thresholds of Glacier Knights as well.
Yeah, he's just dropping out at 28% HP though, and with his build being contested, he actually has a pair of Hell Knight 2-stars for himself as well.
Yeah, and he's also got the Lightblade Knight with items on the bench right now. He actually puts the wrong Lightblade Knight on. Oh, that's a lot of pickups there for Chuck. Maybe looking to roll down a bit more extensively, looking for a Lightblade Knight 2, and there's another Hell Knight there as well.
Yep, sells the Unicorn, of course, as suspected. He's got to be a little careful here because you do eventually want to get to level 8. However, in this situation, because he is so close to the 3-star Hell Knight, that alone will open up a position to throw in 4 Knights for Glacier and then kind of sit on it for a little bit until you get the Soul Reaper. Force level, throw that in, and he's actually not in a bad position himself, to be completely honest. Up against Jinsu here with a Knight's Glacier build of his own.
Yeah, Jinsu also running the Knight Glacier build, as we mentioned earlier, also in a good position economy-wise. So again, Shredded and Chuck and Jinsu all competing for the same units right now, and you can see Chuck maybe looking to roll a bit more here. There's the Lightblade Knight 2 with the items that he manages to get on the field. He is just one Hell Knight away from a level 3 Hell Knight.
He gets it.
And he's the first person in the game to pick up that level 3.
Does have to go down pretty far to find the Hell Knight, and as you see, he is still level 7, but it's fine. I think he's in a really, really good spot. Also, very close to the 3-star Defector as well. So he's looking pretty good compared to all the other Knights players. But as you see here, we have a quick pause looking at possibly one of the players being disconnected from the game, just trying to get everybody back into it because there is so much money on the line here, trying to make sure that all of the players have an equal and fair chance at this.
Yeah, we're just waiting to see exactly what's happened. We'll let you know if it's anything serious, but usually it's a very short pause. We haven't had many pauses throughout the entire weekend so far. And Chuck needs this win. He is he's not too far out of 4th position. I mean, he would need 2 really good games in a row to put himself in a good spot for that 50K. I don't think he's competing for the 450K at this point in time.
It's going to be a little tough for him to do that, but just putting in his best effort. Of course, he's been doing that thus far, but continuing to try and make things happen. And this little pause does give the players a second to take a step back, a breather, try to possibly think about what their game plan is if they decide that they want to be rolling more, if they want to level more, if they want to try to transition into something else, or maybe throw some Marines in there or anything along those lines. It's just it could get into players' heads though on the other hand of things and potentially make them overthink it and just get a little nervous.
Well, let's think about where Jinsu is in a mind space right now. He's currently Glacier Knight. He's seen the 2 open fort Glacier Knight players pick up a lot of his Knights, including the level 3 Hell Knight right now. And now he's going to be taking on Shredded, who has got that level 3 Frost Knight to work with. Jinsu's probably thinking, wow, a lot of my Knights are just evaporating from underneath me, and I'm not able to compete versus these other Glacier Knight players, and I'm pretty far committed to this build at this point in time.
Yeah, the thing that Jinsu has to understand, though, is he has 63% HP, so he's got about double the other Knight players in the lobby. However, he's going to see that start to fall very quickly, but he's got to use that to his advantage as best he can, because again, he's not going for first this game, he's just going for top 4 potentially. Yeah,
top 4 is just his goal, like you said. He's got loads of gold to work with, by the way, sitting at 71 gold. That gives him potential to roll down. He's going to look to find that Agali Knight, as you see, takes it in over the Dragon Knight. Usually a better option until you can find yourself the Evil Knight. There is that other option to go to level 9 and get the 6 Knight Glacier build. I think it's technically, I would say it's a worse version of the build, but I mean, if you're just looking for a top 4 position, you don't need to have your perfect build, you just need to have a build that gets you to that situation.
Now up against the Feathered Hunter build from Land, which we haven't seen too much in this tournament so far, but right now currently up against some Knight players, it is actually going to do just fine. Also against Bomeron and his mages as well, actually. So once again, looking at the mage players, just Bomeron and Seiko, the only two that are running mages right now. However, Seiko at 13% HP, 40 gold, might actually see just a single mage player here in the next couple rounds.
Yeah, I think Seiko has struggled to find the start that he needs. He's struggled to find a good direction. I genuinely feel Seiko is not in a great spot. I think he's just by far the weakest player in this lobby right now in terms of composition, and I think it's very unlikely that we're going to see him get anything other than 8th, unfortunately, unless he has like a miracle roll down. He really didn't look after his economy very well in the early game, maybe by accident or maybe just by force of just being one of the worst middling players, but he may even start to struggle versus this neutral round here. I don't think he's going to beat this neutral round.
No, he's just going to sacrifice some crucial HP if he doesn't, and yeah, he's going to lose to both of them, unfortunately. A little bit of disappointment in his face there. However, at 13% HP, it's not to say that he really needed that 4% HP. I think at this point, if he does get put up against one of those Knights players, he's going to lose everything if he does end up losing. Now, he is going to start spending his gold. I don't think he actually found much of what he was looking for. If we can go back to Seiko there. Unfortunately, at 8 gold, yeah, this is disastrous here. Sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't. I think at this point, it just hasn't happened for him.
It just hasn't happened. Sometimes the game just doesn't favor you, and I really think that going up against Bomeron here, who has frontlined his Tortollerada, but it will get a Tortollerada ultimate. No, right? It won't even get a Tortollerada. It won't even get a Tortollerada ultimate off. This could be it for Seiko. I think he could be out here.
Yeah, so Seiko taking another 8th place. That is absolutely disastrous for him. And at this point, with one game left, it's going to be tough for him to even think about landing a spot on the podium.
I think so too. Chuck here with the 3-star Hell Knight actually losing to Shredded right now, which is crazy to see. But both of these players, Shredded on a good win streak. He's been on 32% HP for quite some time.
Yeah, Chuck actually not in a bad position. If he does get a 2-star Soul Reaper here pretty soon, he's been sitting on that 3-star Desperate Defector for a while. He does end up getting it. Now just 2 Desperate Doctors away from 3-star Desperate Doctor. Of course, he'd rather have that be a little bit closer to a 3-star Light Blade. But now we're taking a look at Kong and a Refresher Orb on Siren with a Beast Warrior comp, which we've seen be very successful.
Interestingly, I've seen Shredded do this a lot, by the way. He's got himself a 3-star Hell Knight, but he actually doesn't go to level 8 as early as everybody else in the lobby. He actually stays at level 7 with a Glacier Knight build and favors going for the rolls, which I think can work out, but he's been pretty lucky to find those 3 stars in this position, because otherwise you're missing out on one of the crucial synergies, which is that Warlock on a Gersis bonus.
And Shredded actually getting taken out by Chuck this time, so he was able to beat him the first time, but not able to beat him the second time around. And Jinsu taking heavy damage from Kong and his Beast Warriors, especially with that 3-star Tusk champion in the front line.
He's also got a 3-star Hell Knight. We've got 3 3-star Hell Knights in this lobby. That's almost the maximum number of Hell Knights that are available.
Does Shredder have a 3-star Hell Knight?
Yeah, Shredder's got a 3-star Hell Knight as well.
So does Chuck. Yeah, you're right.
That's 27 Hell Knights that have been extracted from the pool. I can't remember the total number.
35.
There's 35.
Possible.
So you can only get 3 3-star Hell Knights in one game.
Yeah, that's the maximum. I guess you could have a couple
2-stars. Wait, is my math? My math's not off. It's 36.
I can hear us winning.
36. Yeah, you can't have.
Yeah.
No, you can't have.
You can't have good. My math.
So if you're, is there? There is another.
Eggs. There are eggs maybe involved as well, but realistically, let's pretend that there were no eggs. We're seeing a lot of 3 3-star Hell Knights right now.
Wow! Look at this Shredded puzzle actually taking heavy damage from Kong as well on his, and he is going to get some help from this Priest bonus, but that is 17% HP taken there, putting him down to 6%. And as far as the matchmaking is concerned, he's got 1 round to go into the creep round, and then it resets again. If he gets put up against Kong one more time, just a little bit, he doesn't have much HP to work with. Same thing with Chuck, though. If Chuck ends up going up against Khan has a similar outcome. That 17% HP doesn't really look as much as it used to.
I'm worried about Jinsu though. Jinsu's my worry point right now because he is the one that needs top 4 to like give himself the best possible chance of $450,000. And we are in a pretty high roll lobby right now. We've got loads of 3 stars all over the board. Lots of Hunter players, lots of Warrior players. We're going to see Archdevil here take on Shredded. I'm worried. I mean, Shredded's also not gone to level 8 right now. He's the one that I think, out of all of the Glacier Knight players, I would be slightly worried for him. He will end up taking on Bomaron and winning, just about.
Chuck is going to be just fine against Jinsu. Not able to win, of course, but able to push himself into another creep round here. Jinsu, on the other hand, winning his round up against Land. So I would say Jinsu, Chuck, and Shredded right now all have a little bit to do with some matchmaking RNG, depending on who goes out. Jinsu, of course, with a little bit of an extra buffer. Land, on the other hand, now dropping down to 18% HP. He is somebody that is in contention for a lot of money here as well, and ends up going with a Feathered Hunter build, which it's not even a Feathered Hunter, but it's 5 out of 6 feathered.
He hasn't even found the 6th feathered here, which would need to be something like the Shining Assassin or the Lightblade Knight even. I would even consider putting in a Shining Dragon just to hit that threshold. Because right now, you're running with 3 feathered.
Yeah, but the thing is, he does have 54 gold. So I do suspect we're going to see everything spent right here. So it's going to come down to actions per minute to see how much he can actually spend in a single round. It's going to be a lot for him. So looking at his shop here, seeing what he's doing, he actually went up to 9, but he doesn't even have... He's using 1-star units right now. So
look at this APM, dude. He is APMing.
Yeah, he leveled super quickly, and I was actually going to say it's
take the Shining Dragon. You need 6 feathered. I would have just taken the Shining Dragon in this situation.
He decided to go past it. He's got it in the shop now. He also has the Lightblade Knight to throw an extra one in. He decides to roll one more time. So instead of going into 6 feather, which would extremely boost,
I mean, you need it versus Glacier Knights. You need it versus Glacier Knights. It is one of the massive ways that you actually deal with this composition.
Speaking of Glacier Knights up against Shredded, he is going to take quite a bit of damage here. I think he's going to be just fine. Shredded up against Bomaron is fine. Chuck is going to take more damage here, but he will be fine for right now. The only thing is that Chuck, I don't believe, has Priest bonus.
Yeah, he's going to be okay, but he's going to take a bit of damage. Jinsu's actually found... Oh, wait a second.
He is... Oh, a penguin.
I think he's still going to be okay. No, he's dead.
He's not dead.
No, like dead this round. like not dead, but yeah.
Not dead, but dead. Kong, on the other hand, looking very powerful. He is also somebody that if he can get a first place finish, would put him in a very nice spot.
Very good spot.
I'm sure he's looking for Jinsu to get knocked out pretty quickly as well. So round 27, we still have 7 players in the lobby.
So many people that could go out if they face Kong just in one of these rounds, like Bomaron, Land, Shredded, and Chuck. Even Jinsu on a really bad round could potentially take up to 25 damage. Archdevil here sitting on a Hunter build that we haven't really seen work before, but he's kind of been silently getting through. He's going to be the one to face Kong right now. Yeah,
Archdevil pulling the short end of the stick. However, he does have the most HP to actually deal with the Beast Warriors that Kong is bringing. But you see that 3-star Swordman just shredding through all of his units there because they are cornered. So something to think about. Bomaron dropping down to 3% HP. We have Chuck, Shredded, Land, and Jinsu all fighting things out. Chuck surviving.
Shredded survives as well.
And Land still surviving as well. So another round, and not a single person has gone out.
Land has got 6 feathered now. Land has got 6 feathered. He's put the Shining Assassin in, so that's good. There's an 18 win streak here for Kong, by the way. I don't think he's lost since round 10. It would literally have to be no losses since round 10, which is quite something here for Kong. He's definitely looking for first place.
Yeah, there's about 4 players trying to avoid the landmine, which is Kong, and Bomaron going with the frontline Tortola Elder.
Let's go.
Maybe doesn't value the full ultimate of a Tortola Elder. That thing's just gonna get knocked down. He's charging it up and gets a full one off. Okay, against Chuck, actually not bad.
It's good.
Chuck, on the other hand, up against Shredded, both battling it out. Very, very similar builds, of course.
I think Chuck's out here, right?
Yeah, Chuck is going to take 7th place, so very similar situation to where Seiko is. Shredded, loving to see Chuck go out there. Of course, every single person that drops out now is just solidifying something a little bit more for Shredded. And Land now going out, facing up against Kong. That's, again, the landmine in here.
Bomberon is on the edge as well. Shredded actually managing to survive despite being on a similar, I would say similar level to most of the other Glacier Knight players at this point in time.
Yeah, he might actually find himself a top 3 finish here, if not top 2.
Yeah, he's in a good spot. He's got this round and then a neutral round to go. He's got almost a level 3 Lightblade Knight. Just needs either an Egg or a Lightblade Knight or 2 Lightblade Knights, however you want to call it.
I win again.
And we'll see Bomberon taking on Shredded. This is not a good matchup if you are indeed going to be Bomberon. This could be it for him.
Ghost Ship comes in, his saving grace, hopefully, but it looks like this is going to be it for Bomberon. He pretty much needs
Shredded
everything.
as well.
Shredded should go out 4th, though. He did pull Kong, unfortunately, so Shredded taking 4th, that's actually not a bad position for him to be in. He does get those extra 2 points to push him a little bit farther in. Jinsu, on the other hand, surviving into top 3, and he is feeling really good now into Game 6. You see him just sitting there with the smirk on his face. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
He's also got a very stacked Lightblade Knight with the Frantic Mask and also the Rune Hammer here. I don't think, well, I don't know. It could be close between him and Kong. I think he beats Archdevil most of the time, but Kong is really the sort of the main contender in this lobby right now. But Shredded is a great position for him because he's definitely looking for 3rd or 4th now with the final lobby coming in.
Yeah, and we just locked on Jinsu right now. He showed some emotion after Game 3 as he had 2 solid finishes in a row, but now he's very calm, he's collected, he's not getting over excited, he's sitting there breathing, going through his rotations as he's looking at the other players and still trying to get a 1st place here, as he absolutely can finish this one off.
Heart of Tarask on Abyssal Guard, and if he gets 1 more Abyssal Guard with that egg, he's got a level 3 Abyssal Guard with Heart of Tarask. He's got a Barbaric Cuirass on the Swordsman. And by the way, I have just been notified that Jinsu, Archdevil, and Kong are currently our top 3 on the leaderboard, let alone the top 3 in this game. So it is very, very close between these 3 competing for the big top end of the money, and now I believe Shredded puts him in a good spot for 4th as well.
But it's not just about getting top 4 anymore. Again, so every placement counts now, because it could be the difference. Even 2 to 3 is a difference of $100,000. But Jinsu now taking 3rd, he's fine with that. He is really okay with taking 3rd there. Very, very impressive showing from Jinsu. Just 1 game left to go. Archdevil now with 11% HP. Trying to get past Kong here is going to be a difficult task for Archdevil, but still, at least top 2. He's looking at some considerable amount of money as well.
He is indeed. I mean, Archdevil right now also in the running for the 2nd and 1st place. I mean, these are our 2, I believe, remaining Chinese players as well, and Kong, I think Kong's probably in a position to take this. I think Kong's likely got the strongest build in the lobby by a significant margin, but let's not count anything out here for Archdevil. Hunters can be very surprising. It's looking not so good for him on his board right now, though. I think this could be Kong taking the win away from Archdevil.
Yeah, Kong looking really good. There was a slight strategy with a teleport dagger on, I believe, a Red Axe Chief, but not enough to finish it off there. So Kong, impressive showing, 22 win streak to win himself Game 5.
This really sets our top 3 in the lobby a significant distance away from each other as well. But Shredded is in running for 4th. I mean, there are a few people around that area, but Shredded with the 4th place finish right now, that's good.
Not just 4th, but he could actually, with a nice finish, maybe a win, Game 6, he can push himself up to
third or
third or
second, for
second,
sure.
even potentially. Jinsu, on the other hand, maybe a little bit far away for Shredded to catch, but definitely in contention for Kong and Archdevil to still take first place, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
We're going to take a look at the points.
Yeah,
here
I
in
mean,
a second,
I'm
but-
crunching the numbers here because I like getting a head start on the graphic. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah, I mean, I'll lay it down. Jinsu is 34 in first. Kong is 31 in second.
Ooh,
Archdevil,
wow.
27 in third. Shredded at 20 in fourth. Like
So
that.
Shredded can't get first, that's for sure. He probably can't get second either,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So it's
Shredded
third
cannot
or-
get first or second. If he gets first and Archdevil gets 7th or 8th, then Shredded can be in third.
Wow.
But he's in a potentially a really safe spot for fourth, as Land is 4 below him with 16.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
then it goes Bomb Around with 14, Psycho with 12, Chuck with 11.
So it's mainly just a fight now between those top 4, potentially 5, and how that's going to shake out.
Yeah, I mean, Jinsu and Kong are really going to be duking it out here. Obviously,
and
So,
second.
yeah.
so
Wow.
let's just, for fun, how, if Jinsu goes 8th here, what's the least amount of money that he can walk away with?
He goes 8th, he'll stay at 34. I mean, the worst case, he's like 3rd.
$100,000.
Pretty sure.
Worst case, this guy walks away with $100,000. and just for context, there is a 3-point difference between Jinsu and Kong. That means if Kong were to come first, at minimum, Jinsu could come third, right? And still keep himself in a tiebreaker situation.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was paying attention to the match results here as we saw Kong emerge victorious. And obviously, it's a huge win for Kong, right?
Yeah.
Because now that just sets himself up to try to go for first. Obviously, you were talking about it, Jinsu. He got first coming into this game and getting a third.
amazing.
Jinsu's just on top of the world right now. He just has to keep his composure. And looking at him on the stage, I see no reason that he won't keep his composure. And here we can double check my math. 34, 31. Yay.
Looks like your math is
It
good.
all fits.
So there is a little bit of a contest for fourth, although realistically Shredded
Right.
is in a good spot. Archdevil and Shredded could duke it out for third, although Archdevil is in a good spot for third right now. And Jinsu and Kong right now are also in good spots for first and second.
Honestly, looking at these numbers here, this is a much farther spread than I was really expecting coming into this for the top 3 players. And there's a 7-point difference. 7 points means second place.
Yeah.
Right? That is really hard to come back with 1 game left. So those 3 players have just absolutely dominated this entire series.
And I have to say, like, all the credit in the world right now to Shredded. And we actually, he talked in, we had a video of him actually talking about his strategy. We were able to talk to him after halftime. And he's like, yeah, you know, open forwarding with the Glacier Knights. He said he's going to stick with it. Shredded, remember, he got last place in the second game. And then after that, second, third, and fourth.
So Shredded right now is just playing against Land. He needs to make sure that he is finishing above Land and hoping that Land doesn't go in and take, you know, like a first place or something like that. So he has a little bit of a buffer between 5th place, but if he can get himself into a good position, he's got some decent amount of money.
It's the lucky scenario. If you are not willing to take one for the team, essentially, and try and open fort alongside Shredded, if you know that he's good in every game, it's very difficult to...
That being said, though, there are a few players in this lobby, 3 to be exact, that are out of the contention of getting more than $18,000. So if you're looking at somebody taking one for the team, I would imagine that those 3 could potentially be the ones to do it. And not necessarily to say that they're gunning for somebody, but just because they got nothing to lose.
Well, it's the same with talking to Philip yesterday when he was going into his final game in the semi-final. He said, I knew I couldn't get any better. I couldn't advance. So I just wanted to try the strategy. And actually, sometimes when you've had to deal with this every single game as a player may turn around and say, well, like, I've had to deal with an open fort to Glacier Knight every game, ruining my potential strategies. I've got nothing to play for now.
Yeah.
I'm happy to take that gamble.
And, you know, the top 4 is reachable, as we mentioned, for everyone in theory. Like, for example, Chuck's in last, right? He has 11 points. If he wins and gets 9 points and Shredded gets last,
True.
they're tied, right?
True.
So that's a little bit interesting to consider, too. If we're looking at whoever's in the bottom 4, they all make the same, 18K, which is great. But once you cross that threshold into 4th place, you're making $50,000. So that's pretty interesting, you know, a little bit of pressure on Shredded. But these guys that are just below Shredded, you know, look out. They're definitely be looking for blood here.
Yeah, anything can happen. I think a lot of the decisions are going to kind of depend on who goes out last place, because that is going to be a very significant spot as far as points are concerned.
0 points is important to see who comes in that position, because then it kind of affects where things can move in the standings. Right now, it looks like Shredded and Archdevil can definitely compete for 3rd and 4th. I mean, Shredded would have to have a really good game to take that spot away from Archdevil right now, and Archdevil would have to have a terrible game, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. And I think really our first two players, Archdevil could compete up there, but again, Jinsu is as far away from Archdevil as Archdevil is away from Shredded. So Jinsu has got that cushion for 3rd, that it would have to have a very unique set of circumstances to change the standings that much.
It really is a ferocious battle right now for that top 3. It's actually incredible between Jinsu, who's just on top of the world right now, playing some great games. I mean, you mentioned it, see him on the stage, trying to consider what he's thinking right now, but he's still very close to Kong and Archdevil. And, those are the two home field favorites, the two Chinese players. It's anyone's game amongst those top 3, truly.
Absolutely. For Jinsu right now, it's his money to lose. It's Kong's money to gain at this point, because, again, it's no slight amount that differs between rank 1, 2, and 3.
250,000 between rank 1 and 2.
Massive amounts of money.
I have to breathe a little bit just hearing that.
You double your prize pool. You double your prize pool, essentially. Over double your prize pool if you get from 2nd to 1st.
Yeah.
And you literally double your prize pool if you go from 3rd to 2nd.
And I think this is what all of the viewers at home and all the fans watching right now live in studio, they want to see some type of contention. They didn't want to see a player going into the last game for sure getting first place. They don't want to see a player for sure getting last place. You said even last place does have a chance to get into 4th place. So everything's riding on this.
And I want to ask you guys, obviously Jinsu, Kong, and Archdevil, they've more or less separated themselves from the pack. So what are you guys seeing out of these guys? In particular, Jinsu, what are these main factors that are just creating their success?
I will say Jinsu had a really strong start. He had 3 Taboo Witchers and 1 shop, as we saw. And anytime you get that, I think it was round 4. It puts you in a much better situation HP-wise. And he actually went into a build that was being contested by 3 other players. And the only reason why he came out on top is because he had a much better start health-wise than those other 3 Knight players did.
Yeah, I think actually something that we're seeing, especially out of Kong and Archdevil, is that they are willing to commit to Beast Warrior, for instance, when it works. I think the lesson that I have learned from watching these guys play is that Beast Warrior, in general, is good at shutting down economy players when you have a Poisonous Worm. I think if you're playing Beast Warrior without a Poisonous Worm, you actually don't get enough HP damage done in the mid-game to make it worth it. So we're seeing these guys use Poisonous Worm through the mid-game, sell it off in the late game, then bring in other factors to their Beast Warrior compositions. And I think they're one of the few... In fact, I think the Chinese players are the only players I've seen really make Beast Warrior work to its highest level in this competition, because it's one of the fringe comps that works right now, because the rest of the lobby is Hunters, Glacier Knights, and Dragon Mages, because that's it. That's all we're seeing pretty much through every composition. So to make Beast Warrior work in those metas is...
We had a random Goblin gamble.
Yeah, the Goblin gamble, but that Goblin gamble is we've only seen it work one game this entire tournament for a reason.
From a player that's no longer in really contention, I think.
He's 13 points, I believe, right? So he could get 4th again.
Right.
Like, he could get 4th with the first place finish, and he would need Shredded to get like 6th with a blow.
It's so heartbreaking, because Seiko comes out here getting first place game 1, and to see where it's at now, just a couple games later, it's tough. I'm sure he's probably feeling the same way. So it's I mean, there's so many emotions.
There's a chance for $50,000 for these guys.
Of course,
they keep their heads screwed on. They play their game going to this final game of the Auto Chess Invitational. They can do it.
That being said, the game has begun. So without any further ado, the final game of our $1 million tournament. Let's get into Game 6. And we got an awesome video to actually check out here before we focus. Actually, it looks like we're gonna hang out a little bit. Let the tension just hang out a little bit longer, as it looks like they're taking a look at Jinsu's system over there. Guys, I'm taking deep breaths right now, trying to
sure
stay
the
composed.
players are doing the exact same.
Yeah.
Imagine how
It's
you feel
stressful
right
for
now.
me right now.
There's 8 players up there that all have so much money on the line, and these are life-changing amounts. This is
No, without
joke.
a doubt. I already mentioned kind of the stats earlier. There have not been many million-dollar tournaments. In fact, there have only been 8 in non-team games, right? With just one player getting all the money. There have only been $8 million. And this tournament is $1.1 million. Making it 4th on its own because I'm
Thanks to Axeltoss.
providing $1 to the prize pool so we can be 4th.
Thanks to Axeltoss.
And then again, I also mentioned in the history of esports all time, if you win here and you haven't won anything else, you will automatically be number 240 as far as earnings in esports.
Which is high up there. I
when
mean,
you
there's
think about all the
tons.
games and all the money, like that's pretty ridiculous.
What's going through your head right now, Scoundrel?
My heart is racing for these guys. Even just commentating on the amount of money that is available for one single player, it's a life-changing amount. That's not just sort of, oh yeah, I had a good weekend. This is, I potentially set myself up for years. I potentially take this home to my family and change our lives. I potentially have a whole future ahead of me that I never had available to me before. This is a crazy amount of money to win as one of these players, and you can see we're now into game. Jinsu is off to a good start.
Yeah, and before you guys jump into the commentary of the penultimate game, we actually had a chance to sit down with the CEO of Dragon Nest, Lee Longfei.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in on the Auto Chess Invitation in Shanghai. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'm also very moved by the reaction of the audience. And we will bring more features and mods in the future. Please stay tuned.
All right, so there you have it. Potentially more events in the future.
Ooh,
and
I'm excited.
to stay tuned. So possibly some hints going on for more tournaments.
I hope so. I think we're going to see a lot of competition for this game. It's fantastic, and we can see right now the game points as it stands. Chuck down at 11 and Jinsu up at 34 is the spread of points that we see. And I'm having a look at where each of our individual players are standing. Chuck off to a good start with a 2-star Skybreaker and 2 Heaven Bombers on the field. I saw on Jinsu's board he had two Hell Knights and also two Skybreakers himself.
Wow, look at those items there with the Frantic Mask already off of round 3. So something to look into going, potentially Knight's Glacier once again for Jinsu. And that's exactly what he has on his board already. A couple pairs of very important units. Switch has out the Hell Knight for the 1-star Exorcist Ranger. I think I would actually rather put the Hell Knight in here if you are going for the win. But he gets put up against Shredded. Shredded going straight into the open fort.
Shredded actually matched directly into land. So Shredded actually can't generate the same lose streak that he would have been able to before. It will only affect his economy by 1 round, and it also means that his big lose streak can't be affected by going into land in the future, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, this is one of the things that we talked about with Shredded and the strategy of going in that open fort. It's a little bit of a gamble because, again, same thing, if he doesn't get the rolls this time, if he gets put up against another open forter and loses his streak, which he already has, but if he gets put up against him over and over and starts middling into a open fort, he can very easily, and more easily than any other player in the lobby, get 8th.
Yeah.
And if he gets 8th, then he opens the door wide open for anybody to take it over his spot. And then he's right back to where everybody else is.
So Shredded will have to be careful. He has made this strategy work a lot for him. But again, it is a popular build that he's contesting with a build that Jinsu is already pretty keen to work towards because he's already got those Hell Knights on the board. Chuck actually going to lose, given how crazy his start is here. He's going to lose to Archdevil. I mean, we have got some high-rolling starts. Seiko, Kong, Chuck, Archdevil, all with a lot of 2-stars on the board already. This is like the final lobby of a $1 million auto chess tournament, and we have got high-rolling from left and right.
Yeah, Archdevil here, he's looking at a potential feather build once more, and it looks like he's, I mean, just with the druids in there, the 2 stars, he's actually not in a bad position, but those are going to start falling off really quickly. I think he is going to keep his win streak with so many lose streakers early on that he should be okay, depending on his matchups.
Boomerang also open forting, by the way, here, and Shredded and Land. So we have 3 open forters in one game, I think.
Which is absolutely devastating for Shredded. He is in the position right now where that affects him more than anybody else.
I think so. I think it does. He has managed to avoid Boomerang for the time being. As you know, he's already faced up against Land, so he might very unlikely to find Land again before the neutral round.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to find Land. He can find
exactly
Boomerang, which he hasn't found yet. So it's very, very likely that he will. And if we can take a look at the overall board just to see all of the open forters here.
3 open forters.
This is, yeah, so Shredded actually puts out the Fortune Teller here, which honestly, with the chances of pulling Boomerang and Land in there,
it's smart. I think it's smart. I think you
save the HP.
You're already at 24 gold. Let's just work with whatever the lost streak gives you, I think, at this point in time. I think it's a smart play from Shredded.
Right. And with that being said, he knows that if Boomerang and Land don't perform well this game, if they land in 8th, then he's fine. But he knows that they're kind of up against each other in their own open forts.
Having a look at the HP, Shredded managing to maintain HP with that Priest, as we said. He is going to go for the Glacier Knights as he has been going for every game. I'm interested to know how many other people are maybe thinking about it. We might have to look at their benches as well, but I know Jinsu for sure was considering it. Having a look at the benches, it looks like Land is also considering it. Maybe Boomerang moving towards an open fort God Mage build, which is something that can work. I've managed to make it work myself before, but it's a little bit more risky to do because Gods are one of those builds that if you just don't get the absolute nuts, it's just bad.
Yeah, it's almost like a Goblin Gamble, but looking for God of Thunder instead of Devastator. And just like a Goblin Gamble, you do need to be healthy enough to give yourself the opportunity and time to roll down and level up for that unit.
Land found Shredded, which will be fine because Shredded fielded that Priest, meaning that he keeps his lose streak alive. Land and Boomerang yet to find each other on this open fort journey that they're both going through right now.
Archdevil still looking very clean right now with that addition of the 2-star God of War. So he's got a lot of tank in the front line, some damage here with the Soulbreaker, and also the Taboo Witcher, a really strong 2-star unit before round 10. And especially if you're going into a feathered build, having that into a 3-star late game is going to be obviously a really good start. But potentially with feathered, we have seen it fall off very quickly. However, from a 100% win streak, it's a much different story.
Boomerang's taken a significant amount of HP damage, by the way, already at 63%. I'd say the average metric that I'm happy with when I'm playing an open fort or lost streak build is if I'm at 50 gold by about 50% HP, I'm usually quite happy. But Boomerang is on a sort of a cusp of maybe being beyond that. Depends on how it goes with the neutral round next.
Yeah, Shredded actually pulling Boomerang, one of those players that we want to keep an eye on. So he will lose his lose streak going into round 10 for the second time. So he doesn't have much of a streak. However, with that Priest being added in, he is still at 74% HP, 38 gold at this point as well, which isn't necessarily the worst situation to be in. However, with his Knights still being contested, it's gonna exponentially hinder him for those roles for the 2-star and 3-star Hell Knight and Lightblade Knights.
I'm really interested to have a look at his bench and what he's got fielded versus the neutral round because he probably hasn't had the chance to buy a lot. He's actually just open forting through the neutral round.
No, that was his bench. So his lineup is a few of those.
I was getting confused there.
It's still going to be close, but I think he can at least kill 1 or 2.
The Argali Knight is a big addition because that heal is actually really powerful versus neutral monsters. Yeah.
Gets it off.
Yeah, he gets it off. That's actually a massive. And also, wow.
Yeah, that was very, very lucky there to get the pre-shield on him as well.
Yeah, he gets through. He gets through. That's insane. That's really good for Shredded. If he lost that round there, he probably wouldn't have been very happy. So,
yeah, taking a look at the items that the players are picking up here are also equally as important. Shredded now with a pair of Magica Crystals and a Cattle Hide armor. So, not so much use for the Magica Crystals as we've talked about in the past for a Knight's Glacier comp, but the Frantic Mask, a very important piece for Lightblade Knight.
Bomberon is, again, like I said, open forting into a God's Mage build, which is something that is difficult to make work. If he gets a 2-star Thunder Spirit and then can kind of snowball that into an experience role, he might be in an okay scenario, but he's a little bit further behind Land and Shredded in terms of economy right now, and he actually gets the win, killing off his loss streak. Land still continuing to open fort right now at 49 gold.
Yeah, I don't mind that from Bomberon at all. Stopping his lose streak round 11. Now looking to go back into at least a win streak, obviously, if possible. However, keeping as much HP now at this point is going to be a very, very good decision. 57% HP for Bomberon. Now taking a look at Chuck's board here with the pair of 2-star Skybreakers and a Heaven Bomber with an early Dragon bonus as well. Just not a Dragon Knight, but he will most likely transition into Dragon Mages with utilizing the Goblins early game, which is a very strong option as well for him. Shredded now picking up a 2-star Hell Knight as well as a pair of Argali Knights. Not necessarily something that you really want in a 4-Knight, 4-Glacier composition. You'd rather see Hell Knight with Evil Knight, Lightblade Knight, and the Frost Knight. However, right now he is over 50 gold, so it's not costing him anything to have those. And that pure damage is going to hopefully take out a couple units here and there. Unfortunately, not able to get any luck on the matchup versus Archdevil, which is 100% right now. So it's going to be tough for him to beat that.
Tough. And Archdevil is a guy he's contesting for third, by the way, and Archdevil in such a strong spot already. I want to keep an eye on Land versus Shredded, as they're the two that are really contesting fourth. Land would need to get at least 7 points, which means he'd need second, and Shredded would need to get 0 for Land to essentially get fourth in this scenario.
Land is actually only
4 points. Yeah, no, I was looking at Bomberon. So
Correct.
Land would actually need to get 4 points. So that would mean he would need minimum of fourth, I think, because you get third for fifth.
Minimum of fourth if Shredded gets last.
Yeah.
So Land knows what he needs to do. However, if he gets first this game, then that's 2 extra points again as well. So a couple things could happen for Land's situation. Also going into Knight's Glacier here, not a single 2-star, though at round 13 it is going to be a bit of a struggle. However, he is over 50 gold.
He's also level 7, by the way. So he's actually taken the leveling route over the hyper rolling route, which is the opposite of what Shredded likes to do going into the neutral round here.
Yeah, it's obviously we've talked about it many times, rolling at level 5. However, when you know that there's a bunch of other Knight players in the lobby, taking that guaranteed advantage from your gold is not the worst decision in the world, of course. Now, swapping over to Chuck again with those Dragon bonuses here. We do have a little bit of a farm on the Unicorn now.
I'm actually going to contest you on that point. Just from my personal opinion, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but the chances of finding 1 and 2 cost units is so much greater at level 5 that the likelihood that you find your really core units when you hyper roll at level 5 over leveling is, in my eyes, the better way to play this. I think Shredded is playing this better than Land is in this scenario.
So if Land right now rolls down, I believe he has a 30% chance to find those 2 cost units, and it's only 5% difference.
Is it 35?
It is 35.
Still, 5% can make a significant difference.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's why we do see Shredded going with that strategy, because it is very important. However, he actually goes up to level 6 himself, so kind of removes that advantage that he had previously, but he is much healthier and has some 2-stars at this point going into round 15.
I'm interested to see where Shredded and Land are with their 2-star journeys right now, because that is the sort of the big race that we're watching between the two of them. I think, was it Jinsu as well, considering Glacier Knights at this point in time? I'd need to double check out the rest of the compositions, but...
Yeah, I believe it was Jinsu that was also going
there we go.
Knights Glacier here, and Land now spending that gold to roll up. We have Shredded here with his 2-stars. Has a 2-star Evil Knight, which is really, really good, actually.
Yeah, that's good this stage.
Only a 1-star Lightblade, but at least he has one. And Jinsu now actually not going Knight's Glacier, going Hunter instead. So possibly switching out of that Knight possibility. So instead going with this, and he's going to be just fine round 15. Let's have a look at the items one more time just to see what everybody's working with. Bomeron with a lone Ring of Life.
Yeah, that's not good for Bomeron, I think, especially playing a god build. You really need to get some magic crystals when you eventually find the Storm Shaman, because you just want to make sure that Storm Shaman ultimate is going off as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but just as we say that, now picking up a Magica Crystal and another Ring of Life, so not too bad if you can get one more Magica Crystal that would turn into a refresher orb there for him. Kong, on the other hand, somebody that's contesting the $450,000, not necessarily in the greatest position for his items. If we can pull up the item list one more time as well to see those.
Yeah.
So Kong in second place right now compared to Jinsu, which is the person he needs to beat. Jinsu absolutely high rolling those items out of his mind.
Yeah, Jinsu's got a great item threshold to work with right now. That's amazing for him. And obviously, he is the one that is looking for the $450,000 at the end of this game. He just needs to beat Kong. It's very unlikely that Archdevil can catch him unless Jinsu bombs from this position onwards. So every decision counts at this point in time. They've both got great economies. It's such a fantastic place for Jinsu to be going into these last few rounds of this entire tournament.
Shredded up here against Seiko now, and he is going to be just fine. Actually found a Soul Reaper as well, and as I say, he's going to be just fine.
He's just
Bomber,
fine.
He made a little bit of a comeback for the most part, but Shredded, level 6, able to throw in 4 Knights, 2 Glacier with the Agressus bonus and Warlock bonus. So now he's going to start looking at possibly getting up to level 8. So he ends up going underneath 40 gold. I would assume. I don't think he's going to sell anything.
He might sell one Frost Knight if he wins, right?
If he wins, I could definitely see that, because the 3-star Frost Knight, he can get that again later on down the road. Of course, he's got a lower chance to roll it the higher level he gets, but I agree with that. Archdevil, on the other hand, I do think that we actually saw Archdevil high rolling a Feathered team getting into the finals here, and once again doing it in the final game of the tournament with 2-star Warpwood Sage, 2 2-star Warpwood Sages, 2 2-star Whisper Seers. All he's looking for is a Razor Claw, and then with the egg on the bench as well already, he'll immediately have a 2-star Razor Claw.
Shredded takes a boatload of damage from Archdevil here. It is a build that a Glacier Knight build will not be until you're hitting the 3-star Lightblade and the 3-star Helm Knight. So Archdevil is now coming in as the Glacier Knight killer in the mid game. For those of the Glacier Knight players that are struggling to make those all-important 2-stars, and Land is definitely one of them right now. He has not hit that 2-star Lightblade Knight, which is oh so important for making these builds work.
And we did see Shredded sell both of the Frost Knights that he had on the bench because he ended up losing that round. I know you said previously if he would have won, he would have just sold one of them, but instead he sold both. So I would definitely agree with that decision from him.
This could be it for Archdevil, you know. Sorry, for Land. This could actually be it. He could be out, and that could essentially all but secure Shredded 4th place.
You might be right here.
I think it's going to be super close.
With the Priest bonus, it might be really close.
Oh.
Actually doing much more work with the Priest bonus than we originally thought. Shredded, on the other hand, taking 3 damage, but you're right, Land in that situation here is on the cusp of not even having a chance.
Important decision for Land right now. Do you just... No, he's not. Good. I was going to say, do you just chance it on round 19 and try and get through to the neutral round, or do you go to level 8 and try and get your composition online and just hope for the best? He's actually managed to find some important units. He's got a 2-star Soul Reaper. More importantly, has found a 2-star Lightblade Knight at level 8 right now. This is an okay spot. He's almost at a 3-star Frost Knight as well. This, I think, was the better decision for him, and Chuck, I think, is beatable, even though Chuck's got a 3-star Skybreaker.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to beat Chuck. Chuck's build, honestly, right now is a Goblin Mage build, which, I mean, it might even not be a Goblin Mage build. It might just be a Mech Mage build, which is going to... It's one of those things that works if you roll them really well early on, but isn't going to last you much. Definitely not into round 20.
Shredded still fighting as well as Archdevil right now. Archdevil actually losing to Land. Archdevil does indeed lose to Land at that final blow, and that's why Land made the decision to move up to level 8. This has put him in a good spot to rebuild his economy from scratch.
Was able to get that 2-star Razor Claw, which in turn made the 3-star Warpwood Sage and Whisper Seer for Archdevil as well. So Archdevil honestly putting so much pressure onto this lobby with the team that he has so early on.
Yeah, and this is a little bit like the Poisonous Worm. The Whisper Seer spawns so many little Treant dudes that they also deal damage when they are on the field right now. So if you get into an extended fight with Archdevil and you don't take out the little Treant dudes, he's going to deal some serious damage to you in these rounds. But it's so tense. I mean, I'm obviously keeping an eye on Jinsu. I'm obviously keeping an eye on Kong right now because the lobby's HP totals are really low. But I'm also keeping an eye on Land. I'm also keeping an eye on Shredded because both of these guys are really, really close to that 4th position.
Yeah, and Archdevil, one of those players too where if things happen, he could potentially slide himself into the 1st place position.
Absolutely. It would need Jinsu to come last, or at least close to it for Archdevil to find that. It's Kong and Jinsu that are really in the running for the 450,000 right now. But stranger things have indeed happened. Shredded gets up to level 8 himself with a pretty healthy economy. Actually, no, he's rolled his economy down, as has Land. Land has also rolled his economy down pretty extensively.
I do think that's smart for Shredded to go in here because he's not playing for first. He's not playing for any position other than higher than Land, and he knows Land being in a very dire HP state at 6%, if he could just knock him out, if he could make himself be better than Land and Land pull him, that could be the difference of $32,000.
He beat Land pretty convincingly on his board here. Land managing to win his own battles, as you can see Seiko now. He's actually running is he running a feathered build himself? No, this is Archdevil. We've run onto Archdevil. He actually beat Seiko pretty convincingly. Seiko with the Beast Warrior build. So 2 heavy-hitting builds, dealing a lot of HP damage to people who lose against them right now.
Yeah, and kind of goes back to the matchup RNG. Getting put up against one of those players could
3-star
spell
Hell Knight
disaster.
For Shredded. That is such a big pickup when you're looking for that 4th spot right now.
Absolutely, and 4th spot is in his contention, but also 3rd spot is a possibility.
Unless Archdevil goes from 1st to last, realistically, and then Shredded gets 1st, it would be a very, very big reach for him to get 3rd.
Okay.
However,
it's a possibility.
I'm telling you, there's a chance. I'm telling you, there is indeed a chance. Kong is. I mean, if Kong goes out pretty soon, that is Jinsu all but secured for 1st place.
Yeah, this is extremely close. If Kong goes out.
If Kong goes out, he can't get 1st.
Archdevil, though, can
Yes, Archdevil could get 2nd.
But if Archdevil gets 1st, and there's already 2 players out, like say Land and Kong go out.
So how many points do you get for 6th? 2?
2.
You get 2 points for 6th, right? So that would leave Jinsu at 36. That would mean you tie if Jinsu went out at 6th. Jinsu needs 5th and above to guarantee himself 1st. If Archdevil came 1st,
it'd have to go to a tiebreaker.
It would have to go to a tiebreaker if he came out in 6th. There's a lot of mental math being done at this point in time.
So much money on the line, so little rounds to decide who that money is going to. Now, Boomerang up against Chuck. Land, on the other hand, 6% HP. Kong, 17% HP.
Oh,
Land is going to pull it off here with the 3-star Frost Knight.
Kong is at 2% HP. If Kong goes out on the next round, Jinsu is in almost the money. He's almost in the money at that point in time. He's got to just fend off Archdevil.
If Kong and Land both go out in the same round, that could be it.
As tiebreaker, though.
Tiebreaker.
Okay. But Jinsu got
But he just has to wait for one more.
But Jinsu got 2 1st places, right? So you'd need to match that as Archdevil. I think that's your 1st tiebreaker. I'd need confirmation from absolutely some sort of being in the production area.
I can't sit down anymore.
I'm actually kind of feeling a bit restless myself. I'm not going to lie. This is. I need to stand up. This is insane.
Round 24 here. all eyes on Kong and Land at this point.
He's
Kong
against
getting put up
Seiko,
against
it's the Beast
Seiko.
Warrior, and he's got the Marine.
Kong able to take out Psycho here and live into the creep round here and get onto round 25.
So we were just a little bit silent there because we were getting read the rules, and it was quite difficult to concentrate on the rules and talk. It is essentially the number of times you've come first in a series that determines the first tiebreaker. I believe, I don't even know, but I believe Jinsu has that, even if Archdevil got first. I don't think...
He already has two
first places. I don't think Archdevil has got a first place so far. I think Archdevil has become... So if they tie and it goes to first place tiebreaker, Jinsu wins on tiebreaker.
So Kong needs to go out. One more needs to go out. Just like that, Jinsu $450,000 richer.
Yeah.
Period.
I'm also going to just highlight Shredded right now, currently in third position, has again made this open fort work in his favor. He's got a 3-star Hell Knight. He's working towards a 3-star Lightblade Knight.
And if he sees Land go out, that's guaranteeing him. If we can
Kong
take a look at
out? Kong is out!
Kong is out!
Oh
that
my
leaves
God.
it up to Land, and if Land goes out, then that secures Shredded at least a 4th place spot. But of course, $450,000 for
Jinsu.
the South Korean native.
Oh, Kong, you can see it. He knows. He knows exactly what has happened here. And I'm going to be honest, Kong might even get knocked down into third.
It is very possible because Archdevil is right next to him in the standings at 3rd place and doing extremely well with his feathered build.
It's on Bomberon, it's on Land. We're even looking at Chuck right now as well. Chuck, maybe even with the weakest build. This is absolutely insane. Okay, so this is now we're keeping an eye on Bomberon. He's going up against this feathered player.
We need to go over to Land right here. This is...
I don't know.
This is Bomberon too.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
if he goes out, he's fine.
He's fine.
So,
is he fine? No, he is fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Swapping over to Land.
He's also fine. He's beating Shredded. He's actually beating Shredded. Oh, just about beating Shredded here. My word, I am on the edge right now. I think I'm looking at the difference between Land and Shredded, and I think it's nigh on unlikely that Shredded gives up 4th position right now. It's nigh on unlikely that Shredded gives up 4th position because the last place is now already gone. There has to be a 4-point difference between Land and Shredded is sitting on a 3-star Hell Knight. You would have to have a series of the most unlucky Night Shield matchup RNGs for Shredded to not get 4th in this position.
Yeah, Shredded is feeling really, really good. Jinsu, on the other hand, he is just waiting for one more player. He has 28% HP to work with before that actually happens. Now, it's not unheard of that he can go out, but Land now getting put up against Bomberon, I think he's going to be just fine in this matchup, although that 2-star Tortola Elder can wreak havoc over his team if he actually gets it off. However,
he's good.
Without a source there.
Bomberon, look at Bomberon.
Sure, yeah, if we look at Bomberon, Bomberon's safe.
Okay.
We need to keep our eyes on those last 2 players that have a potential of going out.
Oh, Jinsu's getting knocked down. Jinsu's getting knocked down.
Jinsu did get put up against Land, so Land is one of those players that he needs to have that go out. But Shredded also needs to have Land go out.
My word, I've never felt so tense for Jinsu. That's a 3-star Lightblade Knight for Land right now. That's a 3-star Lightblade Knight for Land. Imagine,
which is exactly what he needs right now.
Exactly. Imagine if Land can somehow take over and Shredded comes 4 points below him, we go into a tiebreaker scenario.
The tensions in the arena are
crazy.
so high.
This is crazy.
Every single round has a potential of deciding.
He's going up against Land. Bomberon is going up against Land. This is a terrible matchup for him with that 3-star Lightblade Knight.
This could be it for Jinsu. He's got 19% HP. Bomberon only on 3% HP.
Oh, the Lightblade Knight, he got blown up. Oh no, he's done.
What? He's got it.
God.
He's got it. Bomberon.
Oh my God.
It's going to come down to 1 HP.
Oh, it's a claw.
He's fine.
Oh,
Chuck goes out.
That's Jinsu's got it. Jinsu's got it. Jinsu's got $450,000.
Jinsu just won $450,000. I don't think he knows it. Yeah, he's sitting there still super composed. If I was him,
I'm certain.
It's positive.
The tiebreaker is that Jinsu has got to 1st place. If Archdevil even wins this, he's only got this 1st place.
Archdevil, you can see now
I
all
need
eyes
confirmation.
on
He's
Archdevil.
nodding. He's nodding. I'm getting a nod from the confirmation.
He's got it. Jinsu's got it.
I mean,
that's it.
If
Jinsu has won $450,000 in the Auto Chess Invitational here in Shanghai, China. Now, Archdevil, though, with $200,000 on the line for him, he is looking at...
He needs to get 4th or above.
That's it.
That's it. He needs
2 more
4th and
people
above.
for Archdevil. That's it.
Land going up against Bomberon here. He did beat him just about in a draw, rather, on the previous turn. You can see 3-star Lightblade Knight is going to pull him through. Bomberon goes out. That definitely confirms it 100%. But not only that, it basically gives Shredded that 4th place as well.
And Jinsu goes out. That's even confirming Archdevil $200,000 here at the Auto Chess Invitational. The crowd is absolutely ecstatic for these players.
The only other thing that can happen now is if Land comes first and Shredded gets knocked out in 4th, we have a tiebreaker for 4th position, I believe.
That's right. Land is actually
because
clawing his way up from 6%.
There's 4 points between them. Oh my word.
Land does have the build to do it. Shredded, on the other hand, if we can swap over to him, it is a creep round. Everybody can take a breath. I'm sure all the fans at home are on the edge of their seat right here.
Shredded, he hasn't got the 3-star Lightblade. He's working only with the 3-star Hell Knight. I would argue that he can beat Seiko. I don't think, I mean, it really comes down to Night Shield RNG when you're going up against Land. But if he goes up against Archdevil, I don't think he's got it. Shredded has got an Orb of Refresh on his Desperate Doctor, but it is only a Desperate Doctor 2. So it's not a game changer. This is absolutely insane. This is really very, very insane.
And it's crazy that the 2 players who are fighting for 4th and 5th, or I'm sorry, yeah, 4th and 5th, are playing such a very similar build.
This is crazy. Land needs first. Shredded needs to get 4th for that position to even potentially change. I don't even know what the tiebreaker is between these 2 guys, but it might be Land's because he would get 1st place.
Land getting put up against Archdevil here, not his best matchup, but if we look at the feathered procs here, I believe he's going to be just fine. He does have 6% HP to work with. Just needs to kill a couple more, but it looks like it is getting overpowered.
This is so crazy, so close. Shredded and Land both win here. Archdevil loses to Land. It is that 3-star Lightblade making a massive difference for him in this particular matchup. My heart is bursting out of my body. Yeah, we already know who gets 450,000. That's been confirmed. We already know who gets 2nd, 200,000. We already know who gets. Well, no, we're not entirely sure between 2nd and 3rd. Yeah, we are, because Archdevil's for sure got it right.
Yes.
We already know who gets 3rd, which is 100,000 for Kong. We are now waiting to see who will claim that 4th spot and $50,000. It's Shredded or Land at this point in time.
$38,000 is no joke.
It's
that
no
is
joke.
The prize pool for a lot of esports tournaments as well, as we've noted several times. So this Shredded, though, actually getting put up against the powerful Archdevil. If certain things happen here, he could very easily get knocked out at 4th. And it looks like it's going to happen. The Hell Knight is going against the shielded, shining Assassin, and I think this is going to be it. So Shredded is going to go out. If we swap over to Land here,
Land's going
he
out
also
as well.
goes out. Shredded takes home 4th position and $50,000, just barely knocking out Land.
$50,000 confirmed for Shredded, an invited content creator. That is an incredible result for him. But now Archdevil, he's guaranteed. We know exactly where people are coming, and it's just coming down to Seiko. It's impossible for Seiko to catch up to 4th. It's merely just a pride thing now. And
Would just love to keep the camera on Archdevil here. You can see there is some emotion in his face. Just, I'm sure he knows at this point that he's secured himself an extra $100,000, just solidifying himself into a 2nd place position.
Unbelievable. But what a series for Jinsu as well. He needed it to go his way at the final moment, and it absolutely did. And now it's a matter of business between Archdevil. This is a build that really should win for Archdevil. This should be a 1st place finish for him. it generally favors against Beast Warrior, and I think it's being shown right here.
Just fine. Seiko taking 22 damage here. Round 34. This could be the last round of the Invitational.
They're guaranteed to face each other. There's no RNG matchup shenanigans going to take place here. Seiko just does not have a build that beats Feathered Hunter particularly well. And he hasn't really got the 3-star, the 2 stars even that are necessary for him to win this particular matchup either. He puts that Berserker on in place of the Doom, but I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make overall. Not even a Staff of Oblivion to help him out, because that would be one of the few items that can really help versus Feathered. Archdevil surely going to claim first place in this final game of the Auto Chess Invitational 2019, the world champion.
Such an amazing journey, starting off with thousands of players to get to where we're at today, knocking down from our top 32 throughout this weekend, and all coming down to this last round, 34 here, Seiko versus Archdevil is going to get taken out and officially claim the winners of $450,000, 200.
The dramatics are there, and it is done. My goodness. It was honestly super close at the end for so many different positions, but ultimately, does he know? Does he know? I'm sure he knows.
He should know now.
I'm sure he knows. There is Jinsu, your winner, your champion, making history on the $1 million day that is today, the final day of the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational.
He's looking around. I'm wondering whether he's waiting for someone to confirm.
There's no question about it.
He's probably a little nervous with Archdevil winning that last round. I think that would be the only slimmer of hope that he thinks that he might not have it.
Well, the points, I mean, because he got 5th, he's at 37. And Archdevil got 1st, which puts him at 27 plus 9, which is 36. So it's literally a 1-point victory for Jinsu.
That's it, 1 point.
It came down to 1 point.
And if
it was
we
very
look
close to a
back at
tiebreaker, too.
Yeah, and if we look back at it, just him clawing himself up into first place that one time made everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Jinsu getting first twice. I don't know if he knew the tiebreaker rules, but that is absolutely massive for him. No question. One of the most impressive feats we've ever seen in esports history. Jinsu and his success. And now we're going to have the trophy presentation here. Again, we're live from Shanghai, China. The crowd, there is not an empty seat in here. As we see our champion approach the stage, that's Jinsu. Overwhelmed with emotion. Now we see the confetti. I'm sure he's just in shock right now. We started with thousands of players competing around the world, and now we're down to our champion. And we're going to have a translator here helping out with this interview here, as you see. Just a smile on his face. And I don't know how long that would take to sink in.
Days.
I mean,
weeks.
My goodness. And there the trophy goes up. There's the smile, the $450,000 smile there from Jinsu, hailing from South Korea. Powerful all weekend long. We saw the Fallen Witcher build from him.
Yeah.
We saw creativity.
I mean,
consistency.
Easily the most diverse player we have here. I mean, we're going to have an interview with him, and we've got translator with us to make sure we can hear exactly what he's saying and all of the emotions that he's bringing out, because I'm super excited.
Just let him have an expression of the feeling. Let's hear what he can talk about, his expression and emotion. It's the first time ever the Auto Chess, the big competition with the $450,000 US.
너무 좋습니다. 너무 좋고
Just ask about the
오늘이
emotions.
제 인생 최고의 날입니다.
Oh, today is the best
觉得
day
今天
in
非
my
常
life.
棒，而且觉得是在已经达到了人生巅峰。
是的，我们从他脸上的表情也感受到了，真的是人生巅峰的喜悦。那接下来呢，这一次总奖金是高达了100万元，而冠军就得到了其中的45万美元。拿到这笔巨额奖金，他有什么样的计划呢？
자, 이번 대회 우승 상금 45만 불.
The question is about what he gonna do with those $500,000.
집을 아마 알아볼 것 같습니다.
首先先买个房子再说。
He might buy some apartment.
也是非常务实跟踏实的一名选手。那也希望呢，在下一届自走棋的国际邀请赛全球总决赛，可以再一次看到他的身影了，好不好？那我们请现场所有的朋友再一次把热情的掌声献给我们的冠军新宿。
Thank you to our translator there for helping out. The best day of his life.
I mean, it would be. It'd be the best day of my bloody life too.
It almost is the best day of my life right now. That's pretty amazing. And you know, to speak towards Archdevil as well. You know, he leapt into second place there, right? Like he had to do work to get second place, and you know, the difference between third and second is $100,000. So for Archdevil to have the game that he did there at the end to get himself into second place, that's a huge achievement in itself. And then Shredded, what a story from him.
Yeah.
You know, he came in as an invite. He barely got into today.
Yeah.
Barely. He didn't even know.
What I would give credit to Shredded for is that Shredded has been the beacon of consistency. Shredded did not win any rounds, but all tournament, but he came third, fourth, over and over again. And honestly, it's a testament to a content creator to come in versus the crowd that we have in terms of the skilled players. And it just shows you that he's a fantastic player too. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm actually so proud of this guy. He's been a part of my life as far as content creation. We've played several games together before in the past, and he's been through so much recently in his life. So this, even $50,000, we've talked about life-changing amounts of money.
Huge amount of money.
This is going to go so far for him in ways that I don't even want to be the one to tell them. You guys have to go to his channel, and I'm sure he's going to give you all the details on exactly how much this is going to affect him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just incredible, especially just how narrow the margins have been throughout. Like, I'm thinking of something we just saw, Shredded versus Bomberon a few games ago, where it literally came down to his Lightblade Knight just barely staying alive, and that propelled him from 7th or 6th to 3rd, which if that doesn't happen, he's maybe not in the top 4.
Yeah. There's so many things that it could have happened very differently.
I don't think it's even worth...
Minuscule differences.
I don't even think it's worth talking about the micro details, because this is auto chess. There is micro details everywhere. What really matters is how you played throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not just this series that he played consistently and to get here. It was every series that he played consistently and to get here. And in a high-stakes final, to change his entire mindset from I'm never going to lose streak to I'm open for in Glacier Knights every single game. And to pull it off in a way that even surpassed the way that Lucky attempted to do so, and get himself into a big money position, it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, and you know, the storylines across the weekend have just been incredible. We saw Lucky, the female player, make it as far as she did. She almost was able to make it to today, but it was actually great because we actually got to see her commentate on the Chinese broadcast over there. So just what an incredible weekend and what an incredible day today has been, seeing all these guys go up on that stage and compete, and just the amount of money and just this day, how much of an impact it has on these guys is just...
There's so many highlights.
I just want to hang out and just soak it in right now.
Even to the players that didn't make it past round 1 or day 1, they had an incredible experience here. A lot of them coming to China for the first time, experiencing the entire tournament, even from the stands, has been an extremely fun experience.
Let's not take it away from them either. They're top 32 players in the world to get here. Top 8 in your region, or top 4 in your region. You know, you can't be upset at yourself. Exactly.
Even to make it this far, you have already accomplished more than thousands of players have attempted to get this far.
Yeah, every player here deserved to be here. It was a grueling best-of-3 format to get through the quarterfinals where anything can happen. As it said right at the start, when you watch that intro, you need a pinch of luck in auto chess, and sometimes it's just with you. And with our players, especially Jinsu, not only did he make great decisions, but he had sometimes that pinch of luck, and it was so tense in that final game, but the results went his way. And
I couldn't sit down. Xcounter and I were up, standing, literally shoutcasting auto chess. I never thought it was actually going to be a thing, but we were literally
shouting at the screen
auto chess, because that's how exciting it was. That's how much that money actually makes a difference. And I can imagine I was shaking at times when there was differences of one player going out for all these different amounts of money, and I can only imagine how Jinsu's hands were feeling trying to navigate the board and keep himself composed in order to just make, like, put an extra unit on there or level up. It must have been so insanely incredible.
Imagine this, you download Auto Chess at the start of this year. Just, it's a game that you like playing, you enjoy it, and then 6 months later, find yourself winning $450,000.
Unbelievable.
So Clay, we're gonna bring in Shredded to replace you. Not yet though, but I wanted to say, Claytano, you're awesome. Shout out your Twitter and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts from you?
Like I said, super proud of Shredded Puzzle right now, and I couldn't be happier for him. And I hope you guys enjoy several words from him, and just best of luck.
Thank you, Claytano. As we see the match results here of that final game, Archdevil at the top, followed by Psycho, and of course Shredded getting in third. And now we see the overall standings at the end here. Finally confirmed, finally here it is graphically. Jinsu walking away with $450,000.
1 point as well.
We have South Korea followed by China, Archdevil and Kong. And then of course Shredded in fourth, Land, Psycho, Bomberon, Chuck at the bottom. And without any further ado, we are joined by
Shredded,
the man who got fourth place, Shredded. Great to have you here. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for taking that interview in between in halftime. It was really cool to get your insight and get some thoughts from you in the middle of the day there. But I just want to get your reactions right now. Fourth place, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. This is what I was shooting for. Top 4 was my dream, so I'm totally happy with fourth. And also, especially, you guys saw the beginning of those games. I only had 2 points after the first 2 games. And I realized my strategy or aggressive strategy just wasn't working. I had to try something different. I pulled out the open fort into Glacier Knights like Lucky was playing every single game. And it turned out to work out pretty well, even when other people were open forting. So I think I'm really happy with the results.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because Shredded, you're a YouTuber. If you don't know, Shredded is a YouTuber. Check him out, Shredded Puzzle on YouTube. He's alongside me and Clay. We make a lot of YouTube content. How does it feel as an invited YouTuber going up against this level of competition? I mean, I'm beaming for you. I mean, how does it feel to come into this competition and know that you are amongst the best players in the world?
I think that actually took a little bit of the pressure off. Like, I wasn't expected to do very well. I was kind of the underdog the whole time, so I didn't have a lot of nerves going into a lot of the matches, and I was just able to apply myself and do as best as I could. But I did prepare as best as I could for these games, so I really tried to give it my all, and yeah, I think it turned out well.
Now, would you say you were slightly inspired by Lucky and her play based on your strategy here today?
It was actually, this was a strategy I was using on YouTube videos over and over again. Okay. I think you also probably use the same strategy. It was just so strong on the ranked ladder, but I didn't think it would actually be able to perform well in a top-level tier tournament match. So
I think it's a testament to how good Glacier Knight is in general, right? Yeah. It's an incredibly strong comp.
Very, very strong and very consistent, because even if you don't get a great early game start, you're able to build up your economy, pick up the units along the way, and roll before others are rolling, and then put your units down. And
something micro that I want to talk about, the way that Shredded approached this. You saw Land, who was your main competitor for fourth, by the way. It was insane at the end. We were jumping out of our seats, because if he got first and you got fourth, your tiebreaker means he won, which is crazy. But the way that Shredded approached it is he goes to level 5 with his economy at 50 and rolls at 50, because you have an increased chance of finding 2 costs, which are the most important costs for Glacier Knight. Land did it the other way. He leveled to level 7, which slightly reduces the chances of finding those 2 costs, which is how Shredded I think became so consistent with this Glacier Knight strategy over 4 games is that because he did it at level 5, and that's a little lesson I think for everyone out there if you're trying to do the same thing. I've got a little question for you, and this is, I was smiling, maybe you were smiling. In the game where I think there was 3 open forters, and then you saw like Chuck and everybody open forting, what was going through your mind at that point?
I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done this. I should have just played Beast Warrior or something. But then I was like, I was in it, so I've got to do my best, and like you fiddle around, you know, like you put units out, you take them back to try and play mind games with the enemies, and yeah, that was. I feel like it was a bit of a luck fest who actually got the 4th place, who got the 7th place in that game, because Chuck only got eliminated one round prior to me, and he got out 7th, I got out 4th. So a bit of luck involved in that, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was also that moment against Bomberon where your Lightblade Knight just barely survived. That honestly propelled you from like 6th to 2nd. I believe that was game 4. Can you reflect on that a little bit?
I don't actually remember that exact moment, but I remember things like that happening, and
just like the tension of being so low in health and just barely staying alive, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think it was towards the beginning when I was like, I probably don't even have a shot at top 4. I'm just playing for fun. I'm just trying to do as best as I can with this idea and this strategy. And so I probably didn't have that much pressure on me or feeling like, oh, I'm really worried if I get wiped out right now. It was only in the later rounds, like the final round and the round before that, games 5, that I was really like, okay, I have a chance. I need to make sure that I do this.
I've got a little meme question for you now. Something that confused me all weekend. If you look at the Korean and Japanese players specifically, when they play Dragon Mages, why do they put Tortola Elder really far up? I mean, apart from generating mana is the only thing I can think of. Why do they do that? Have you got a theory?
I think it's generating mana and to be able to always attack an enemy unit right from the get-go. Because sometimes when it's in that back corner spot, it gets locked in. Or
it's got a range of 4 though, which is really interesting. I never usually find that it gets locked in.
I know. I always used to run Tortola Elder in the corner, but I do see the reasoning for that, just to make sure if for whatever reason some weird sort of interaction where they meet up towards a bit further from the Tortola Elder, then he's still able to land his attacks to gain mana.
What are you going to do with the 50,000 though?
I'm going to save it, just like in game.
Yeah.
It's 50 gold for like 5,000 interest,
You're
right?
You're going to get 5,000 interest every round?
Interest, yeah.
Economic lessons from Auto Chess. No, that's awesome. Hey, Shredded, thanks so much for hanging out with us and talking to us. Last question here. You know, what's next for you? And any words for your fans?
I'm going to keep playing this game. I love the game. I think it's a really good one, and I hope that it continues to grow, it continues to improve, and new strategies come into play, especially with the Wizards coming out.
Wizards
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Goblins is going to be very strong, and that will counter Knights. So, like, it will throw a wrench into the mix of these Glacier Knight open fort comps. And I'm going to continue uploading daily like I do on YouTube, and I'm going to keep trying my best to climb the ladder and hopefully be able to attend more events like this in the future.
Awesome. We're super excited to see you continue to compete and also continue to create content. That is such an awesome area just for you to fulfill.
I shotgun Shredded as duo partner, by the way. Just
oh, man, dang it. All right. You said it first. Finally, go ahead and just plug all your channels just so people know.
Okay, my YouTube channel is Shredded Puzzle.
Camera's right there. Yeah.
The camera's right there. Okay, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/shreddedpuzzle. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know, and I upload every day. And thank you for supporting me, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed all of these games. Like, I really enjoy watching these games because I'm kind of obsessed with Auto Chess. I assume you guys are too, so I hope you enjoyed them and got to see some new strategies.
Awesome. Shredded, thank you so much, and congratulations on your win, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
That's Shredded getting 4th place, and we're done here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to one of the most historic days in esports we've ever seen. The $1 Million 2019 Auto Chess Invitational live from Shanghai, China. We started with thousands of players competing from around the world, 9 different regions, and we're here to crown our champion. Congratulations to Jinsu emerging in 1st place, $450,000 for him. Archdevil coming in 2nd, Kong in 3rd, and of course Shredded in 4th. And congratulations to all of our players competing at this event. Big shout out to all the commentators, Excoundrel, Claytano, Cameron Davis, and Joel Larson. My name is Axel Toss, and that's going to conclude our show here from Shanghai. Thanks for tuning in to the 2019 Auto Chess Invitational, and we'll see you next time.
要快人一步，用技术驾驭前路。要赢，还要点运气的眷顾。怕输，那就给我让让路，看我一串7的脚步。要好看，指尖的技术，画里有画的艺术。茫茫大众，我要万众瞩目。你还想要什么？100万奖金，自走其爱。这里有你要的全部。